This is Second Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Second Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? I'd like to start off by saying, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Call Elohim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rokach Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that's scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. Mr. Brother Shabab, I'm Juan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, Precepts, Watchman updates, various news, right? And there's a lot of shit going on right now, all right, through the spirit, all right, this beautiful times, all right, we have to stay on top of everything that's going on to the best of our ability. If one brother doesn't cover, another brother will, all right, this is why we're all, one body in Yahweh Shai at the end of the day, all right, and we're constantly supposed to be reporting live to you, all right, every day as watchmen, giving updates, all right, showing that, the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is faithful and true, all right, because everything is happening according to Bible prophecy, okay? And like I said, a lot of things are happening right now, all right, showing you that, we are at the end of this thing. So we have to continually stay prepared, all right, for everything. Why does my camera look like that? That's what it is. Should look like it was on an angle. All right, so let's grab a couple of these things that are happening. Go into Instagram real quick. And like I said, I read these first couple precepts, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Yeah, because that's what's coming to this place, destruction. All right. This is all the beginning of sorrows. This ain't even a scratch on the surface of what this place is really truly about to feel. All right. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to turn it up a notch. And something I was meditating on yesterday, we're coming up around the Day of Atonement, all right, which is it's about a month from now, a little bit over a month possibly. But nonetheless, all right, it's right around the corner. And again, every time our high holy days come into play, all right, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai turns it up another notch. All right, and this may very well be the last, Day of Atonement that we go through. Okay, so we have to be prepared, all right, for the things to come. All right, so Shalom Alak Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Barak. Let me grab these videos. Give me 1 second, going to my save. All right, so let's play around with it's gonna go to different topics. All right. Hold on. Okay. So we got this first one, right? It says last night in Memphis, the safe task. I believe it was last night. Yeah, August 9th. It says last night, the Memphis Safe Task Force wouldn't allow people to leave a nightclub without first checking their IDs. All right. And basically you have this, you got the security, I believe it's a security guard, but the task force behind them. Okay. And it says the task force was created by the administration to end street and violent crime in Memphis. Yeah, which, task force is pretty much in every state, You know, it goes into your detectives, you know, the ones that come kicking your door down when it comes to drugs and when it comes to guns and crime and things like that. All right. But still, you know, these things are going to be intensified even more. All right. So they pretty much be taken out the way because it's going to be at one point all lawlessness happening in America. All right. Where you're not going to be able to, you know, reach 911. You ain't going to be able to reach your, you know, your ambulances. Okay. You're not going to be able to see task force running up on people's houses because it's going to be a lot of crime, you know, all hell breaking loose out here, according to Jacob's Trouble. You see, so pretty much it's just gonna be free game out here. But still, when you read these things to the spirit, this is all Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you know, showing you one that the mirth of the land is gone, all right, and two, you know, the times that we're in, very perilous times, dangerous times, all right, and again, they're gonna continue to intensify and become worse and worse as we continue to get closer and closer to the end and closer to this new world order. You see, because that's what they really want. They want chaos to happen, to erupt. You see, order ab chaos. Okay, problem, reaction, solution. All right, they want all hell to break loose so they can bring in these national guards, bring in, you know, giving them a reason basically to come and bring violent uproars upon the people. Right, they want you to break your characters so they can have a reason to come out here and unalive half of you niggas out here. You see? But like, let's listen to this, right? Actually, hold on, let me make the screen bigger. There you go. And what's crazy is they don't even look like task force, yo. They actually look like a bunch of military soldiers. All right, I don't know if y'all can see it as clear as I do. It says this task force locked the doors and wouldn't let people leave, even though they lack reasonable suspicion. And when I read that, right? Matter of fact, yeah, you can see the task force back there behind the door, right? And what that reminded me of is like, you know, that shit could happen out here where they take a lot of jakes and entrap them in just one particular area where they're not able to come out, you know, like a one way in, one way out type deal, right? And hey, man, they'll grab you and lock you up in one particular place, and man, all different types of things can happen, man. They could burn up a whole building with a bunch of jakes in it, all right? They could just spray, you know, with their weapons right in there, you know, taking out a bunch of people, multiple people all out at once. You know, these are the type of things that you have to think of in the time of Jacob's trouble, man, because Jacob's trouble is not going to be some easy walk in the park. All right, Jacob's trouble is not going to be some shit that you're going to be able to just escape like that, man. The Lord was bringing that judgment. You see, the Lord was stirring these things up. So the Lord's going to make it easy for us to bear it and to be able to escape through the temptations and escape through the, you know, the trials and tribulations, the elect. But for the ones that are not of the elect, that have not hearkened on to the Lord, man, you're pretty much going to be beat out here. You know, however it is that the Lord going to bring judgment upon you, it's gonna play out exactly how the Lord has it planned for you. You see, that's why you have to fear Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? Those guys right there look like regular police officers, but the ones that were task force, they had straight military helmets on, military uniform. All right, so that was one of the articles. All right, this is another article right here. This is BlackRock basically turning all these street lights into surveillance cameras, right? Which that all goes back to this Palantir, this Palantir agenda they have going, where pretty much everything is, turning into to security cameras. All right, all the way down to what was it the other day? Forgot the name of it. Let me see. It's a certain type of surveillance camera. Hold on real quick, Street. What is this called? Hold on. Damn, what's the name of it? It's not giving me the name. But there's they were saying like the street cones that you see on the streets are now having surveillance cameras attached to it, right? The orange construction barrels, but it's a certain name for it. I forgot what's the name of it. They've been talking about it more and more. I know once I'll see the name. I'm looking it up right now to see if I see anything come up as it. Let me see if this one says it right here. Security Today. Covert traffic cone video surveillance system. Joint secure building console. Man, I wish I remembered the name of them. That's all right, though. Matter of fact, let me try one more thing. New surveillance cameras. New surveillance camera system name. Let me see what that. Oh, flock cameras. That's what they are. Flock cameras. A lot of flock cameras are being put out. All right. What's a flock camera? Flock cameras. What is it? No, not flat. Flock.
A flat camera, like the flat cam, is a very thin lensless camera. It uses a chip.
Yeah, so a flock camera is an automated license plate reader. All right, so on top of these cones that are being made, right, it's being turned into surveillance cones, right? You have these flock cameras that are basically able to read your license plates from all different types of angles, man, from a mile away if they want to. All right, it says it's a vehicle tracking system. All right, manufactured by Flock Safety. They want you to actually be putting. They want, I forgot about what year, it was a certain year that they want all cars to now have cameras put into their cameras being put into their in their cars, so they can constantly watch every damn thing you do in your actual car, man. Be able to give you a ticket just by your car having a damn camera and seeing what you're doing. If you make a wrong turn, right? If you eat a red light. Right. See, this is the type of world we're coming into, man. It's total technocracy, right? Total control of everything you do. They have these cameras, these God eye cameras that everything is being watched. All right. That there's nothing that you can do without it catching you. This is why they're creating these 15-minute smart cities. Again, all these different cameras for new surveillance data and new surveillance systems. You don't know what the hell got a damn camera nowadays. They only tell you to the public what they're going to do. All right, but I'm sure there's plenty of things that they don't tell you that they're going to do because they want to keep those things a secret to be able to, catch people in the act of doing certain shit. All right, so let me see. It says flock cameras How flock cameras work: vehicle fingerprinting. Instead of just reading numbers, AI catalogs specific attributes like body type, missing plates, or temporary tags. You see, real-time alerts. They cross reference passing plates with federal and state crime databases, hot lists to alert police of a stolen or wanted vehicle passes. Searchable logs. Law enforcement and approved neighborhood associations can query the cloud database to trace a vehicle's historical movements. See, everything is on the data system. Controversy and privacy concerns. Mass surveillance. Critics include civil liberties groups like the ACLU agreed to log in the movements of everyday non-suspect drivers infringes on privacy. Data retention. It says captured vehicle data is typically stored for 30 days or more, allowing retroactive tracking without a warrant in many jurisdictions. Private networks. It says because private neighborhoods and HOAs can purchase and sync these cameras with police networks. Commercial entities share a large footprint in public movement. Yeah. So another thing they're doing is they're taking these Ring cameras, your cameras. They're pretty much attached to the system now. These newer cameras, you know, connected straight to the police department. They ain't even got to ask you for your phone. They can just tap into your phone if they want and be able to catch something. A lot of these new phones, new cameras, there goes a chime. A lot of these new phones, these new surveillance cameras are coming from the IDF. They're coming from being connected with Israel, because I believe it was Netanyahu that he basically signed off on how everything that comes to these phones, right, is pretty much connected with them. So they have an even more close eye on what you're doing. You see, all the way out there in fucking Israel, man. This shit is bugged. Again, dangerous times, man. You know, you can't, there's so much things that you can't do. All right, so let's hear this. Says BlackRock is quietly turning street lights into surveillance cameras.
Is now also excited to. People just connected the dots. Turns out BlackRock is now putting cameras in streetlights. Sounds like science fiction, but only because you haven't seen this. I'm also excited to announce that we are working with another industry leader, Ubiquia, to turn streetlights into smart LPR and live streaming cameras without having to add.
Yeah, so that shit is going to be the type that pretty much is going to be connected with the biometrics. You know, they're going to be able to catch your face, you just walking by, you know, driving by. All right, they'll be able to detect if you have an MOTB. All right, they'll be able to detect if your body has, you know, the yo jabba jabba in your body. You know, hey man, they were doing that shit a couple years back. You know, turning certain street lights into black lights where they were able to track, be able to see what's inside in your body. You see, you will glow a certain way if you had the yo jabba jabba. All right, so you know, this is again, they're gonna do all these type of programs, all right, to be able to have a close eye on everything that's going on around the world. All right.
A hole in the ground. This partnerships accelerates deployments and turns existing infrastructure into intelligent, interconnected tools for public safety. That's the CEO of Axon, and it's now one of the hottest companies in the surveillance market. Introducing Axon Outpost. This is not just another ALPR camera. It's two cameras in one. So just like Fleet, you have one camera optimized for license plate reading and the other for live video streaming with a wider field of view. Outpost runs edge-based vehicle signature AI, meaning it doesn't just capture plates, it recognizes vehicle make, model, color, visible damage, and even unique features like bumper stickers or roof racks. And it can be deployed anywhere with a flexible power source, including solar or wired power. Counties are terminating their flock contracts.
See, and that's heavy because it goes into let me grab this preset. This is This is Isaiah 14 and 14. All right. Matter of fact, let's take it from 13. It says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will send into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh, and I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." Point. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. You see, so that's their God complex. That's the pride that they had. That they actually want to be exactly like the Most High, man. All right. Yep. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant to Satan's devices. Yeah. Yep. Flat camera. Yeah, the brother put it up. Yep. Meta glasses. That's another thing. Yeah. All these meta glasses that are being pushed out. You know, now they're even making it cheaper. I mean, certain ones are expensive as hell, but those are like the name brands. But then they have these knockoff brands that are pretty much do the same exact shit that these brand names do. All right. And pretty much what they're doing is, yeah, it's cool for you. You're able to take video and pictures of everything just with your camera. All right. But they're already looking through your eyes basically on a daily fucking basis, man. They're watching everything that's happening in your home. They're watching everything that's happening at your job when you got them on. All right. They're watching everything, man. You see? And this is them having that God complex of wanting to be like the Most High and do everything, okay? Just like the Most High would do. Because only the eyes of the Lord is upon the sinful kingdom, right? Beholding the good and the evil, right? The eyes of the Lord, which is these angels, right? They're constantly watching and recording. And that's what this devil wants to do. So he wants to record everything and know what you're doing at all times, just like the Most High will be able to do. Right? As a matter of fact, and then eventually it will lead to this, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God. You see? So he makes himself think, all right, that he's above the Heavenly Father, all right, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, which eventually that will be him, you know, putting this MOTB, this RFID chip, all right, into our bodies to have total control of your thoughts. You know, pretty much he wants to be able to, here it is, he has all these different cameras and security cameras around the world being posted, right? But now he wants to also make you, you know, a walking Wi-Fi, you know, cell phone, a walking camera, basically. Because once they be able to put this technology into your body, all right, like I said, they're able to tap into your thoughts. They're able to look at life through your eyes, basically, because everything's connected to the system. You know, if you can hack the system, you can hack computers where they'll be able to hack into you, you know, and be able to do whatever they want, manipulate your mind. You see, who knows how Esau will be able to connect your eyesight to his computer and be able to see through your fucking eyes, man. Like, got to think about it like that. See, that's why, like the brother put, we're not ignorant to Satan's devices, man. Okay, we can't be. All right. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like iron rust sows his wickedness." Yeah, you can't trust anything that this devil does, man. He has an agenda behind every single thing. All right. Esau always does something to make a certain move. All right. He constantly playing chess with it. You know, everything that he does, he's 10 steps ahead of you, 10 moves ahead of you for something that's going to help him later or in the future. You see, this is Psalms 10 and 8. It says, "He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places does he murder the innocent, and his eyes are privily set against the poor." Yeah. So his devices are constantly set against the poor to try to trap you up, put you in these different, you know, predicaments. All right. It says that he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, man. He's constantly watching it. And that goes into a lot of police officers just sitting in the cut, watching everything. But look, now it's going to be no need for police officers to sit in the corner now and detect your speed, or, you know, they're in the corner of a village watching, or a corner of a neighborhood watching everything that goes in and out. They don't need no more police officers, because now all these flock cameras, all these different security systems, surveillance systems are going to be able to do all the watching for them. They got drones that they fly around all the time in neighborhoods, all right? And they be watching, you know, Jake do all their bullshit just through straight drones without them physically being there. You see? So again, he's in that God complex, right? Let's go back. Ah, shit. Hold on. I lost it.
People just connected the dots. Turns out BlackRock on systems. And here's what they meaning
Hold on.
model, color, image, and even unique features like bumper stickers or roof racks. They can be deployed anywhere with a flexible power source, including solar or wired power.
Counties are terminating their flock contracts and spending tens of millions of dollars to install Axon systems. And here's what they really don't want you to know about. 25% of Axon is owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. You know, the same people who have openly said things like this. We're going to have to change. This is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors. And at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors. You know, what we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay?
We're doing the same.
And so it's just, you have to force behaviors.
And that's the thing. See, he's forcing the agenda upon people. He's giving people no choice. Because if they don't comply, well, then they'll say, well, then you can't have a business. All right? This is why it's all going to go back to that beast system. All right? That if you don't comply with their system, then you get cut off of their system. Right? And there's even going to be more when they put this RFID chip and people make it mandatory. You see? You want to be able to keep your business open? Well, you're going to have to put this MOTB in you, and you're going to have to put these flock cameras everywhere. You're going to have to put all these different types of surveillance, updates into your system, you see, so we can constantly watch everything.
Forced behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just that. Recruiting is development, as Ken said. And to make matters worse, Axon CEO Rick Smith also sees himself as a hero.
At Axon, we stand at this unique intersection. We operate the largest connected camera network of public safety cameras and sensors in the world. Our mission extends beyond just transparency and accountability after events. We now have the potential to proactively safeguard society, promptly dispatching assistance and actively deterring violence. Our goal isn't to build a society defined by surveillance or incarceration, but frankly, one where violence and crime rarely occur because they just don't make sense.
And see, that's what makes it. That's why a lot of people gonna fall for the system, because of the convenience that they preach with it. See, they tongue frame it deceit, as the scriptures say, right? The wicked be estranged from the womb. As soon as they be born, they come out speaking lies. Everything that this devil talks about is just straight lies, man. He gonna make it sound good, right? Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, right? 16, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but he imagined how to throw thee into a pit. This nigga gonna talk a good one, all right? But it's really to catch you caught up, all right? To get you caught up inside their system, man. You see? Because it does sound good, right? Oh, there ain't gonna be no violence, there ain't gonna be no more crime. All right, we have total, eyes on every single type of crime that's happening. Yeah, but isn't this world based on crime? Isn't there American society based on crime? Right? This nigga done raped, robbed, pillaged, murdered, genocide. You know what I'm saying? He at the top of the chart for all these crimes. So the nigga needs to have a close eye on himself, honestly. But see, he wants to have a close eye on Jake, to constantly watch Jake and blame Jake for all the shit, when this devil's the one doing all types of atrocities on a daily basis, man. You see? Now they want to make life good. So basically what they want to do is they want to be able to catch Jake in crimes, simmer down the crime rate of Jake so they can do their shit behind closed doors all day long and nobody have to worry about it. Why? Because they're in total control of the system. You see? So they different, man. Esau different.
Anymore.
I'm sure the $164 million he made in a single year has nothing to do with this motivation.
Yeah, software and services up almost 40% year over year. So it's really going great. We're in this amazing position to take advantage of the AI era because we have over 1 million users out there that are using our body cameras, in-car cameras. We have eyes and ears out in the field that we can listen and see what's happening and then apply the AI.
Yeah, see, that's just scary, man. Your phone is constantly listening to you and watching you all day long on your, whether it's on or whether it's off. That shit could be completely dead, and them niggas still be able to tap into the damn phone and be able to hear your conversation, watch you. They're watching you through your smart TVs. You got smart TVs in your house, right? Fucking little cameras on there that you don't even know about. When you go to sleep, that shit taking hella pictures of you while you sleeping, man. All right, they can actually watch you through your router, man, through your Wi-Fi router. They got cops. These police officers now have it's not even police officers, it's the military. They have weapons, devices, right, that they could put on their vehicles, and they could drive right past your house, and they'd be able to look into your house through the walls and everything. Heat sensory, everything that's being that has anything that has heat, right? Us that has blood flowing, your dogs, they'll be able to know exactly what part of the house they're in and everything by just having a certain type of device that can look through the walls. You see? So that's why Jake got to cut out for themselves in these last days, man, because they don't even know the true blessing of Esau, the true power that Esau has on this side, in this society, which it all comes from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, because he uses him as a rod of anger, as the scriptures tell you, man. Against a hypocritical nation, which is our people. That's a hypocritical nation, right?
The business is really on fire.
Here's the scary truth, folks. While people were busy taking down flock cameras, they were already rolling out the replacement. And these new cameras are designed to be more stealthy, harder to detect. You're likely not even going to know you're being recorded. So the next time you see news about flock going down, just keep in mind it might be a distraction.
Axel, Winona police suspect.
Yeah, and that's good that he says that, because that's exactly what Esau does. He'll bring up a certain topic, right? Push out the vibration, right? And then people start complaining. And what he does is he'll be like, okay, well, we're not going to deal with that anymore. A lot of people are against it. But like you said, at the same time, on the other side of the boat, these niggas already got a whole bunch of other, devices planned out and ready to go, if not already put in place. That's how he's able to keep gradually inching himself in with the technology. All right, and that goes to prove that we are in the fourth industrial revolution of things, man, the internet of things. Everything around us is internet based. Everything around us is digitalized. All right. That's why if you can't see that the MOTB is the RFID, all right, the Neuralink, well, then you're pretty much fucking beat. You're done. You're stupid. All right, because everything around your society is digitalized, man. Everything is connected somehow to a data center, to a data system. All right, give me 1 second. Let me. Air conditioner got me like an ice box up in here. All right, so yeah, man, you heard it yourself. It says the top institutional shareholders. Right here, what I'm reading. Oh shit, what was that?
One thing we're at,
Including
Hold
solar
on.
or wind.
Let me find that again. Give me 1 second. Hold on. It says drone policing coming to radial as City OK's $14.3 million Axion AI deal prompted privacy concerns, right? This is something I wasn't reading when the video was playing. Here goes another part. It says the Vanguard, it says top institutional shareholders. It says the Vanguard Group, Inc. holds the largest stake, owning roughly 11% of the company's shares outstanding. All right. It says BlackRock, Inc. holds the second largest position with approximately 9.3 to 9.5 of common stock. State Street Corp, all right, State Street Global Advisors hold, I believe it says, hold around 9%, 4% of the company's stock. Other major institutional funds include Valley Gifford, and Co., Wellington Management Group, and FMR LLC, Fidelity. All right, so these are different types of shareholders. All right, but y'all pretty much get the point with this surveillance shit, man. All right, this devil's really trying to play the role of the Lord and have all eyes everywhere. All right, let's grab this other one. All right, this says breaking. All right, it says passengers aboard flight threatening to take aircraft over. I believe it's aircraft they meant to put, but it says take aircraft over. Let's listen to what it got to say. All right, this was in Alaska. So basically, multiple passengers on board in Alaska. It says airlines flight 305 at Miami International Airport have threatened the flight attendants, including one saying that they are going to take over the aircraft. Yeah, I think they meant to put aircraft and they didn't put it in there. It says the plane headed to Seattle never took off and has returned to the gate. All right, so hey, what does that remind you of? All right, remind you of some 9/11 bullshit, right? Not only that, that movie Flight 93, it's a pretty good movie. It was basically when the one plane crashed in Pennsylvania. All right, during that time, so-called, right, that it crashed. But nonetheless, we've been telling you that these devils gonna try to reiterate a whole 9/11 incident. All right, and here it is that they're trying to say that. I'm pretty sure they're trying to have something to do with Iran trying to take over planes and shit. All right, let's see. Hold on.
The flight attendants have received threats from customers on board the aircraft. Okay, do you need us to contact law enforcement? Absolutely. The captain's on the phone. Again, last we heard from the flight attendants is we had a customer threat to take the aircraft over. The flight attendants have received threats.
So basically what that's going to end up doing is, all right, it could be a whole false flag. Like we always think first, false flags first. All right, because this devil loves to, push his little agenda, right? But what that'll eventually do is that now they're going to start telling you that there's too many threats going on with the airplanes. All right, you're being hacked into the systems. All right, people are threatening these airplanes to either land them or they'll be taken over by whoever it is that's taking it over. All right, and that's just going to cancel flights. All right, which we've seen that last year. We've seen how flights were canceled. What was that in? I believe that was in November, December of 2025. Especially with all the partial shutdown of the government. Right, people couldn't get nowhere. People were stuck outside in lines for a while. Those were all warning signs that the Heavenly Father was giving us of showing you how this place is going to be shut down. All right, and we know it's going to be shut down for good at one point, where you're not going to be able to leave. All right, America, you're not going to be able to go state to state. All right, not even driving, because there's going to be checkpoints state to state at every border. Okay, but at one point, flights are going to be canceled. All right, as the scriptures tell you in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Let's grab that real quick. 2nd Ezra 15, and 17, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled and the houses shall be destroyed and the men shall be afraid. All right. So people going to desire to try to leave, all right, Babylon the Great, and it's not going to be able to happen, man. Because, like I said, state to state, all right, they're going to have, checkpoints, on these main roads. All right. You're not going to be able to cross the border lines of these different states. All right. Even from town to town, they're going to try to keep you locked in just the town that you're in. It's going to take a little bit, but eventually it will get like that. All right. And like I said, damn sure they're not going to be any more flights. Ain't going to be no more of this vacationing. You see, everybody's always caught up in a vacation trying to live their life. All right. Again, the mirth of the land is gone. The Lord going to shut this place down, as it tells you in, let's grab that real quick. This is Isaiah 24 and let's grab it from let's take it from 8. It says, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. All right, yeah. So all that joy, all right, that people are still trying to find, that shit's gonna completely end. It says, they shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Yeah, people are merry when they drink, right? When you go to these clubs, these bars, all right, anything that has to do with entertaining yourself, okay, and there's always liquor involved, it's not going to be, it's not going to be the same. You're not going to be sitting there singing songs and living it up. Okay, it says strong drink shall be bitter to them. Yeah, again, even drinking alone, all right, it's not even going to feel right in those days because there ain't going to be no time for you to be drinking. Okay, people trying to do that now, drink their life away, drink their sorrows away, but when they wake up the next morning, all right, they're still in the same predicament. You're still going through what you got to go through. All right. It says the city of confusion is broken down. Yeah, the city of confusion is America because this place is based on complete confusion. All right, it's going to be broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. Yeah, everything's going to shut down. You see, lockdowns again. All right, not being able to, go to this store, go to that store, go to this event and that event, all of that shit's going to be taken away. All right, that no man may come in. Yeah, you could take that also as they're going to not be able to travel from one town to another, from one state to another, one country to another, right? It says there is a crying for wine in the streets because when all these things shut down, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be crying for, answers. What's going on? They're going to want knowledge all of a sudden. All right. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All the joy is darkened and the mirth of the land is gone. And the city is left desolation and the gate is smitten with destruction. Yeah, because that's what eventually is going to happen when, it's completely gone. Everything, the mirth, because what does the scripture say? Pride go before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. All right. To have that haughty spirit and be in that proudful state is basically you in that mirthy, type of environment. That's pride, man. Here it is that the things are happening all over the world. This place is collapsing little by little. And these people in their pride are acting like this place ain't like this place is not being destroyed. Like it's not collapsing. You see? So that's that haughty spirit before that fall. Okay. And then eventually what's going to happen is the city's going to be left in desolation and the gate is going to be smitten with what? That destruction that the Lord has been talking about through through his prophets. Okay. Over and over and over again. You see? So let's go to another one, right? Let me see. This one's about Puerto Rico. I'm gonna save that one because I got a video for that one. Let's grab this one right here. I mean, I hope this is. Hold on. Let me get a louder one. That shit too low. Oh man, hold on. I mean, this is the only one I could play. Hold on, is this one?
The fog of war is thick. The United States is about to attack. Drop a...
All right, nah. Hopefully I can hear this part.
Our lives are in great danger. Please share this shit. Spread the word. This is your responsibility, fam. This man, he was right last time. Please spread this.
The United States is about to attack, drop a bomb on its own soil, and frame Iran for it, to rally the troops of America to go off and fight for the pedophiles at the top. That's right. An intelligence leak has come through. The reason that Joseph Sumar relieved his duty of the USS West Virginia nuclear submarine was because he was approached by Pete Hegseth and the higher-ups in the Pentagon to carry out this mission, and he refused. He flat out told them that he refused to carry out that mission, that he would not drop bombs on American soil when there was no threat. This is what's coming. Just as the Black Swan event that happened in 9/11 was portrayed and perpetuated, was done by Israel and the United States so that they could attack Afghanistan and blame Osama bin Laden. None of that was true. Just as none of this, which they are saying on the news about Iran, saying that they are planning to attack U.S. soil with nuclear weapons. That is all a false flag. It is a false flag created by the United States government. This is what's coming. But the United States government has relieved that nuclear submarine commander, and the new one will definitely drop the bomb on American soil. This is what's coming. Do not be fooled. And to hide this, the United States government will 100% sink that submarine to the bottom of the ocean, and you'll never see any of those sailors again. That is what the American government is willing to do to hide their hand when it comes to underhandedness. So this is what's coming. There's a false flag. America will bomb the United States to frame Iran for it, so that the United States can rally the troops and send hundreds of thousands of American men and women off to be killed to fight Iran. This is what's coming. Prepare your families. Do not be deceived. It's a false flag and a hoax created by the United States government. Prepare your families.
And we've been telling y'all, man, that there's going to be a lot of false flags. All right, like you said, Black Swan events. We've been talking about that for years, man. All right, because that's what's in their agenda. That's what's in their book. And that's just another way to depopulate, all right, a whole bunch of our people, man. Send them off to war. Let them die out there. All right, here it is. You got the IDF joined with our military. So even if your ass is surviving certain shit, they're going to make sure the IDF soldiers, you know, pretty much off your ass in the midst of them teamed up in war, you know. It's scary times, man. You can't get around the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, all right, which ultimately all these people that are going to end up being, you know, rounded up for war is going to be for them to go to war against Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. All right, because they're trying to use Jake to literally fight off against Yahweh Shai when Yahweh Shai comes, because that's how World War III is pretty much going to end up being, you know. It's going to take place out there in the so-called Middle East, right? Out there, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, right? And in the midst of that, right, Yahweh Shai is going to come and crack clouds, right? And as the scriptures tell you in 2nd Ezra 13th chapter, right, they were so afraid, but yet there's fight. You know, they're going to fight against Yahweh Shai, man. You know, how it says in Revelations, the 12th chapter, right? Yahweh Shai and his angels, right? Mike the archangel and his angels, right? Let me just grab it. I'm over here demolishing it. Sound crazy. This is 12 and 12. Not 12 and 12, 12 and 7. It says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, all right, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. You see, so Michael, right, the archangel and his angels, all right, are going to fight against, all right, the dragon and his angels, which is basically Yahweh's army, all right, because the Lord coming back with 10,000 of his troops, as the scriptures say, all right, which is going to be these other angels, all right, in the chariots, and they're going to fight against the militaries, all right, military aircrafts, you know, and none of them are going to be able to prevail against Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. When you read Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, it speaks about how, you know, they're pretty much taken out. All right, real quick, I'll just run to it. Second Ezra 13, and I'll take it from 8. And it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet there's fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lift up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and all they were and they were altogether mixed, the blast of the fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and it fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden and of innumerable multitude there was nothing to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Yeah, so they're gonna try to come up against their Heavenly Father, man, but it's gonna just turn out, all right, the worst case scenario. You're not gonna be able to beat the Heavenly Father, man. You're not gonna be able to prevail. You see, and then eventually this place will be destroyed in 1 hour, as it tells you in Revelations. All right, this place is gonna be destroyed in 1 hour. Okay, the Lord ain't got no time for games, man. The Lord ain't got no time to be playing around with y'all. You're gonna be in war for 3-5 days. Nah, the Lord gonna end this place like that. You see, and the flaming breath and all that was mixed together, that goes into, you know, the concentrated laser beams that come out of the chariots, all right, along with the thermonuclear missiles that the Lord gonna have, all right, going to wherever it needs to go. None of them gonna break their ranks. All right, so like the guy said, man, they're gonna try to start up a false flag and blame it on Iran. There's a lot of things they're gonna keep playing around with and blaming it on Iran, because it's all made to usher in this new world order. All right, their agenda. All right, let's see what else we got here. 1 second. This is another one. Flight cancellations.
Y'all want to hear some more fucked up news? Y'all thought I was playing. Cancel them fucking flights now. Sean Duffy said we are in uncharted territory. Bruh, are you serious? We not even charting.
And see, that's one of the things that Esau does. He knows how to instill fear in people. See, that's why the Lord said that we weren't given the spirit of fear, but of a sound mind. So us having this knowledge, you know, we're able to basically, you know, not be scared of what the boogeyman talking about over here. All right, because we know a lot of it's all, you know, plots and schemes that they have made. All right, but for the rest of the world that don't have the knowledge and wisdom to be the stability of that time, see, they're gonna fall for the bait. They're gonna be scared as hell, and they're gonna continue to keep lying to them and instilling fear in them. All right, and they're gonna become more afraid, and that's how they gain more control over the people, man. Because if you realize, man, everybody. Here it is, our people, Jake, don't be afraid amongst each other and shit. All right, they be ready to just knock each other's heads off. But when it comes to Esau telling them to be afraid, they just bow down right away. You know, they're afraid of everything that Esau has to say. They're afraid of everything that Esau has to offer. All right. So they'll tell you, all right, we're gonna have to put all these flight cancellations out. We're being attacked, and it's all bullshit. It's all a false flag, like that one guy was just saying, man. But people gonna believe it. Just like people believe when he was telling you that you had to get this inoculation, right? It was mandatory for you to get it, or you were not going to have a job. You were not going to be able to do this, that, right? But people just went and lined up for the yo jabba jabba with no problem. You see, all because he put the fear in them to make them believe that shit. You see?
Funny, y'all want to hear some more fucked up news? Y'all thought I was playing. Cancel them fucking flights now. Sean Duffy said we are in uncharted territory. Bruh, are you serious? We not even charting. Once again, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I cannot believe we're in this shit. 40,000 flights daily are going to be affected by this shutdown. That's 10%. 10% of flights is 40,000 flights daily. And this is all major hubs in the United States. So I hope y'all prepared to cancel y'all flights because we don't know which ones are shutting down at what time. I know a lot of people had trips going out the country and most of them fly out of Houston and Florida, and Hartsfield is the international spot. Texas is shut down fucking completely almost. Miami, baby, y'all not going nowhere. And fucking California, y'all gonna be driving miles to get to an airport. I'm happy I ain't got nowhere to go. Don't nobody want to see my ass. But for y'all, I am sorry for people that are forced to fly because people fly for jobs. Oh, and please remember this: your mail comes through flights.
Man, listen, man, this place is done for. If you still think America has a chance, you're finished out here, man. America cannot help itself. All right, this is I did a video on that yesterday. Actually, did I?
Breaking news, the Cradle is reporting that Russia warns the U.S. and Israel.
Yeah, no, I did a video on that yesterday. Let me see if there's another one.
What you gonna do?
No, that's not one.
Okay, question of the day. Guess how many flock surveillance cameras were in the free state of Florida back in December 2024? Sure looks like a whole lot of nothing. Hey, now let's check out how many flock surveillance cameras got.
So there was the blue dots are flock cameras, and basically what he's showing you on the map, there is no blue dots. All right, I guess one is that one. Oh no, I think that's just a screenshot of his phone. All right, I see maybe one there. That's about it.
Sure looks like a whole lot of nothing. Hey, now let's check out how many flock surveillance cameras got installed after Trump took office.
Damn. Man, that's how tight security is. Look at that. This is the globe right here. This is the whole United States right here. Shit is everywhere. Everywhere. That's how you know they're ready for this new world order. All right, ready to connect everything to the system. Look at this shit. It's even growing. It's growing more and more, actually.
I guess that's what he calls making America great.
Yeah.
Surveillance.
To make America great again is really just to make it great with this new world order. This is another one. It says Russia just sent the chilling message and the world is watching, right? And has a little nuclear symbol next to it. It says tensions are rising as nuclear rhetoric returns to the spotlight. It says a video circulating online claims to show a Russian tactical nuclear unit displaying what is described as a tactical nuclear warhead, and amid escalating tensions over the war in Ukraine. The footage comes as Russia continues issuing warnings regarding NATO's involvement in the conflict. However, the specific claims made in the video, including its context and implications, have not been independently verified. The ongoing war has intensified global security concerns, with many world leaders continuing to call for restraint and diplomatic resolutions. The video is shared for news reporting and informational purposes only. All right. So let's see what they got here. See, and best believe, all right, those nuclear warheads are gonna be used, man. All right, because that's the end game for Babylon the Great is being, annihilated through thermonuclear destruction. That's what that lake of fire is about. All right, this place is gonna be burned from New York City to California. All right, never to be inhabited again, as the scriptures say. Let me grab a few more and I'll close out. I was looking for this particular one. I hope I saved it. If not, I gotta look for it again, and I'll just do. It goes exactly with this nuclear. Right here.
Former government official claims the USA has a $21 trillion underground city. But only the former government official claims the USA has a $21 trillion underground city for only the ultra wealthy to hide out in a near extinction event. Hold on, let me show y'all this other shit that I was just talking about yesterday. Look at this book, y'all. Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump. Do y'all know that Trump right now has a son named Baron Trump? Baron Trump, Donald Trump's son. He's 20 years old and the nigga 6'9". Stay with me though. The author of this book is named Ingersoll Lockwood. So in this book about Baron Trump, look what it says. Across Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog. And then 4 years later, he wrote Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. Y'all, check this. Watch the next book that this man wrote, The Last President, or 1900, written in 1896 by Ingersoll Lockwood. Let's see what this book is about. The Last President imagines a populist outsider winning the U.S. presidency, touching off mass riots, financial panic, and the collapse of the Republic in New York City. So anyway, to circle back to this, I do think there's an underground city. I think there's underground.
And that's how you know that Trump is going to be the one to end this whole entire place. A lot of brothers have felt that through the spirit, like everything's going to end with Trump. All right, because look at what Trump is doing. He's that cruel Lord, man, that's causing all this controversy, all right, upon the world. All right, bringing all these different types of wars together, bringing all this, global collapse, So he's definitely that cruel Lord, all right, that has been set here in Babylon the Great. And it's just a spiritual thing for him to be, in presidency, right? Because one of the things we be thinking about all the time, all right, when you read the 15th chapter of 1 Corinthians, it talks about how the last trump that we should all be beamed up, right? Those that are dead in Yahweh are going to rise up first, all right? But the rest that remain in the twinkle of an eye, we're going to be beamed up. Body's going to be changed. But what a coincidence, right? When you read things to the spirit, how the Lord do things, right? It says in the last trump, right? It doesn't literally mean Donald Trump, all right? But we're going to read things and look at it through the spirit, All this can end, with the last trumpet, that it speaks about, but also the fact that Trump is in presidency and we're at the end of this thing, man. It is all spiritual, you see? So, excuse me, this is how you know, like what she's saying with all these books that they have from fucking 18 whatever, and that also goes to show that they know who's going to be in presidency. All right, all these presidents are set up according to the lineage of of the Illuminati, okay, and they pretty much set these presidents up before years, decades before they even get to actually be in that power seat. They already have a long list of who the hell's going to be president, who was going to be president 50 years ago. You know, they already knew 50 years ago that Obama was going to be a president, that Trump was going to be a president for 2 years, leave and come back and all this shit, you see? So it's all orchestrated by your elites, man. All right, but let's finish this, and then I got a precept for this.
It's a whole bunch of shit we don't know about because we're not the ultra wealthy. It don't say the wealthy. It says ultra wealthy. Damn, y'all. We're going to be above ground scared as hell, man. But yeah, y'all drop in the comments. What
Yeah, you're going to be above ground being destroyed. You look like a whole nigga at the end of the day. You know, dykey bitches. But let me grab this. This is second. This is Revelations 4. And this is over here. Oh, so like it's 6. My bad. I'm over here tripping. This is 6, and let's take it from, because going into these bunkers that they got, right? They got all these underground cities. Why do they have these bunkers? Because you have the elites trying to hide from the destruction that they know is coming to this place. They're trying to hide from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, which anything that's here in Babylon the Great, if they got any type of bunkers out here, them shits are gonna be destroyed. Because the 200 million missiles that's gonna hit Babylon the Great is gonna hit this place so fucking hard that the whole earth is going shiver. Right? The scriptures tell you that in what is that? Matthew Isaiah the 24th chapter talks about how the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. You see, so this is going to pretty much be knocked off its axis. It ain't going to be destroyed because the earth abideth forever, but it's going to get rocked. So anything here in Babylon the Great, you got any type of bunkers, that shit ain't going to be able to work. You talk about 200 million missiles hitting this place. All right, them things going to go into the ground. This is going to go deep into the ground. So it's going to explode everything that's underground anyway. All right, but the reason you have these elites that are making these bunkers, all right, and the ones that are going to be able to escape are going to be the ones that are outside, all right, that has the bunkers outside of America. It's only because they're going to be the first fruits of slavery, all right? But this is prophecy that they will go hide into their little rocks, all right? This is 6 and 12, the sixth seal terror, right? It says, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. The stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. All right, going into these missiles, right? It says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. You see? And that's talking about the nuclear missiles, because when the scroll represents the mushroom cloud that happens when the missiles hit. It says, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, Yahweh Shai, right? It says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? You see, so these people going to literally hide, all right, in the dens of the rocks, as the scriptures say, man. All right, that's those bunkers. All right, let me grab this. This is what is that? Amos. Hold on. This is Amos 9 and 2. It says, though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Yeah, so digging into hell is having these bunkers. All right. The Lord's still going to take them out. It says, and they that climb up to heaven, right, going into these space stations, right, you're going to have people trying to go into the space stations to not be hit by the missiles. The Lord said, thence will I bring thee down. You see? So there's no way for you to hide from the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, let me grab this. This is Revelations 9 and 20. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. All right. So it's telling you that people are not going to be killed by the plagues, right? Because those are going to be the ones that are in those bunkers. All right. Because when you read up a little bit more, it talks about how the 200 million missiles is going to hit, right? It talks about how the third part of man was killed by the fire, by the smoke and the brimstone. You see, so that's going into those actual thermonuclear missiles. All right. So they could try to hide all they want. All right. At the end of the day, according to Jeremiah, let me grab that real quick. 16 and 16, it says, behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Lord Yahweh, and they shall fish them, and after will I send for many hunters. So the fishers are the men of the Lord that are out on the highways and hedges fishing for the elect, right? They're going to be turned into hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled mine inheritance with the carcasses of the detestable and abominable things. You see, so that's going into us being turned into hunters. All right. And when the time comes, right, we're gonna go up into them chariots first, right? This place is gonna be annihilated, all right, and then we're gonna come back down, all right. When the time is right, we're gonna come back down and yank them out of their little rat holes, man, out of these bunkers that they're hiding in. You see, and of course that's because they're gonna be the first fruits of slavery. All right, so they're gonna end up being yanked out by us to be put right back into chains. Be put into chains, all right, to basically, clean this place up. All their children is going to be, born into slavery, you see. So they can hide all they want, again, in those little rat holes that they got, all right, but the Lord going to yank them out of there, all right, and it's all biblical prophecy that they would hide in these bunkers. That's pretty much why I brought that video out. Let me go back. I think I had one more video and I ended there. Hold on, I lost it. Where was it? And did I just lose it? I gotta go scroll all the way back down. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Let me see what else was next to it. I'll bring this last one out right here. Hey, hold on, is this another one? Yeah, let me bring this out. This is part of that same thing I was just speaking on. So, hold on.
Sorry, what?
I'm trying to pause it.
I've never heard these. Below Los Angeles.
So this is.
God knows how long. Check this shit out. I promise you.
So this goes back to.
Below Los Angeles.
Damn, why can't I pause it like I normally do?
God knows how long. Called Sub.
So this is going back to them underground cities.
I'm sorry, what? Below Los Angeles, that's been there for God knows how long, called Subtropolis. I'm sorry, what? I've never heard of such a thing, but I just saw a video today, and now my mind is blown because I've been obsessing over the fires and all the random information that I'm getting from people that live there, from the news, from TikTok. A lot of things in my mind don't add up to these fires, and I'm sure a lot of you agree with me. I've heard some theories, some a little way over here, but they also make sense. Some way over here, but those also make sense too. So.
And I looked it up. That's a real place, yo. Subtropolis is an actual real place. It's an underground city that they have for years now. And look how that shit look. Look, there's some fucking crazy ass trails up in there, man. This shit's miles down under the ground.
That's the only way I can describe it. Like, you're gonna find city.
You see? So basically that's what they were saying all these data centers are, and all this water that's being used as the data centers is really to try to bring it to come down to these places down here. You see? Shit is crazy as hell. Let me see what else they have there.
Check this shit out. I promise you, y'all gonna start seeing this probably in the next 2-3 years. Silo residences, 144 stories underground. Mark my words, y'all about to start seeing a lot of shit like this in different cities, towns, states, whatever. But it's coming. The silo residences, where being underground means moving up. Make deeper connections with other inhabitants inside the on-site cafeteria, providing organic farm-to-tray meals grown right beneath your feet. And sleep deeper as you retreat into peaceful and almost inescapable isolation. Several units are available across a range of levels, including starter options for those who desire a little less control. With so much at your doorstep, you'll never go anywhere else. So lock yourself in to the pollution and all that.
See, that's why you gotta, if you ever seen it, man, these movies, this is why we tell you predictive programming is heavy with these movies, because they show you that in a lot of these different movies, how there's always this like new world that's underground or out of space, right? Another one that just pops up into my mind is Elysium. There's a movie called Elysium with Matt Damon. You know, they show you how there was, Earth was destroyed, but they had another fucking city that was built out in the firmament and people were living in there, you know. They show you kind of that in Demolition Man, where they were living underground while shit was all breaking, while hell was breaking loose upstairs in the ground level, right? They had people living underneath the sewers and shit like that. You see, these things are all predictive programming, because this is what their true agenda is, man. You know, having this new world order, and their inward thoughts, the scripture says that their house is going to continue forever. They think that they're going to live forever, man. They think that they're not going to be destroyed. They're not going to have to pay for what they did. All right. But see, all these things built, all right, everything that's built, whether it's above ground or underneath the ground, all right, all these things are going to be destroyed by the works of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. See, that's why the scriptures say that he disappointed the devices of the crafty, man, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Yeah, rat holes, man, straight gutter rats, man. You know, yeah, they're not going to be able to perform their enterprise. They have these things built up, right? Because it's all part of Bible prophecy for them to do it. All right, but it's also Bible prophecy that they did all that building for nothing, because it's going to be fucking taken down. It's going to come down to naught. You see? So it was a good thought. It was a nice blueprint you came out with, but it's going to be destroyed, man. And we ain't going to have none of that shit in the kingdom, man. The kingdom is going to be perfection, man. The kingdom is going to go being back to a place of paradise, you know, more paradise than it was when it was first created, you know, as the Garden of Eden. It's going to be the Garden of Eden times 144 times better, you see? So we're not going to have none of that shit right there. Underground bunkers and shit like that. Nigga, if we want to go underground, we're going to explore underground. You know, we're going to be able to explore at the bottom of the ocean where mankind never touched, you know, and stay under there if we want to for 2 hours if we want exploring. Without any of these devices, and you got to put this damn mask on to be able to go down in the water and explore to certain depths, man. We're going to have all that shit. We're going to be able to explore the whole entire earth. See, Esau's all about trying to do these things because he dreams of doing these things, because he know he ain't going to be part of that kingdom to do that. So he tries to do it all on this side, on this earth, you know, because this is his world right now. But again, his inward thought is that their house is going to continue forever. Shit is funny as hell when you see all this shit built up. All right, for no damn reason, right? All right, but let's end it with this last one. I've been going at it for a while now. All right, this is the last one. I'm just seeing it. I only brought that one out because it went with what I was bringing out before that. This one was on fagonometry bullshit, but it just spiritual. I mean, it's just disgusting to see. This is why this place is gonna. One of the main reasons this place is gonna be destroyed. All right. So it says right here. Well, let me show you the picture. Yo, why can't I pause my shit now? The fuck? So they got this little boy dressed in a skirt. Some straight fagonometry out here, man. This is one of the main reasons why Babylon, all right, city of confusion, all right, is going to be annihilated and never inhabited again. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah was overthrown, all right, this place is going to be overthrown in like manner, but even worse. This shit is vexing to the spirit, man. This nigga walking around with a damn dress, all right? Nigga thinks that they'll call that shit a tunic in these times and make it look like it ain't nothing wrong with that, but this nigga clearly wearing a whole damn dress, all right? And it says, hi, Miss Williams. It's Dr. Smith over at Elementary. Do you have a moment? Hey, Dr. Smith. Yes, I'm at work, but I can text. I go on break in 30 minutes. Is everything okay? So it says, so you're going to have to come and get Kevin. What's wrong? Is he okay? Yes, but he can't be in school setting dressed inappropriately. You sent him to school in a skirt. Boys must dress like boys and girls must dress like girls. It's highly inappropriate for his age. He would either have to change clothes or leave. I let my son express himself. It doesn't say anything in the code of conduct of how genders dress, as long as he has on the correct colors. You have to come to get him or bring clothes. Otherwise, he will sit in school suspension. Thanks. All right. So, and it says, yeah, hold on. Yeah. Then it says, I guess this is what she wrote on her shit. Hold on. On her page for Facebook, of course, she runs the fucking Facebook. I wasn't going to post this, but I am sick and tired of my son getting discriminated against. My 7-year-old son started his new elementary school today. He went to second grade. He was super excited to start his new school year. Yeah, because he was in a dress. And it says, well, we were wrong. I got a text message today telling me to come get my son because he is dressed inappropriate. I let my children express themselves. Nothing he has on is inappropriate. There is no rule or law stating that he has to dress a certain way. I am looking into suing the school for discrimination because this is ridiculous. He is there for an education, not to be judged. When he's at school, he's supposed to feel safe. I feel like the girls in his class and his teacher were jealous of him. Oh my gosh. Which is why it was brought to the principal's attention. See, this is why Babylon the Great, all right, needs nukes, all right, because of the total confusion of this place. And of course, I'm sure some straight N-dub woman, all right, that's out there pushing that agenda and saying it's okay, express yourself all you want. You see, this little boy ain't grow up with no damn father. You know, we can definitely tell that, because if he did, father would have put his ass in place. All right, and told him that he can't dress like that. That's not how he's supposed to dress, you know. But hey, man, this is what we got to deal with here in Babylon the Great. All right, the confusion. All right, the wickedness of this place, man. And look, the Lord said that it was more it would have been more tolerable for the times of Sodom and Gomorrah than the times of this generation, man. You see? Matter of fact, let's grab that real quick. Tolerable. Got what that was. It would have been more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah, KJV. Matthew, that's what it was. Matthew 10 and 15, it says, verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. You see? So it was more tolerable back in those days, man. All right. it was straight wicked as hell and wrong. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed. But when you compare Sodom and Gomorrah to Babylon the Great is completely out of this fucking world with shit, man. Right? Because wickedness has increased on a whole nother level. Right? As the scriptures tell you in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, right? Wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole entire earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled, man. That shit is way beyond nowadays, man. And the scriptures talk about how in Isaiah, what is that? Isaiah 3rd chapter, verse 9. It says, the show of their countenance does witness against them that they declare their sin as Sodom. Yeah, and that goes to show you that those are the same spirits coming back. And those same spirits that came back are back worse than ever in the flesh, man. You see, it says the show of their countenance does witness against them that they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul. See, woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. You see, so there is no reward. Like she was trying to say, oh, well, I'll let him express himself, and there's no fucking reward for that, man. That you need to be put down. You need to be put to death for that shit already. All right. I hate when I see these fagonometry niggas walking around out here. Matter of fact, where I live in my development, it's crazy because across the street, just like you got the good side and the bad side. Like the side I live on is like the luxury apartments, but then you go to the other side, it's just straight ghetto as hell. And on that side, all you see is just like this whole section is just a bunch of transformers over there. Men straight transformed into women on some bugged out shit. It's just disgusting. When you see that shit around, you go to a store, you can't even enjoy yourself in the store. You're grabbing a couple things for your house without seeing some bugged out shit that make you want to drop kick somebody and give them a clothesline, man. You see? But, hey, Babylon the Great defends these people, man. So if you even say something, do anything, forget about it. Your ass will be in jail in 2 seconds, you see? But that's why we got to get the hell up out of here. That's why us being in this truth, we have to continually pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah to just get us the hell out of here, man, because we're just like Lot was. He was vexed with the filthy conversation, man, the things that he had saw when he was in Babylon the Great. I mean, when he was in Sodom and Gomorrah, you see? So we're in that same type of spirit. We're vexed to the spirit for all the filthiness that we continually see out here, man. You know, we wish that the Lord could right away put a missile on one of their faces, but we gotta be patient. We gotta wait. We gotta suffer. You know, waiting for this place to be destroyed. You see, but hey, man, the time is coming. All right, as the scriptures say, just like Sodom and Gomorrah was overthrown, so will Babylon the Great. So let's end it with this. This is Jude. All right, and Salaki, I took a little long, but it's all through the spirit. This is Jude 1:7. It says, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, given themselves, and this is Sodom and Gomorrah spiritually, right? And the cities in like manner will be all these other nations that have drank the wine, all right, the fornication of Babylon the Great. It says, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. You see, so Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed for an example for our people to learn not to do that shit. All right, and here it is. We have done it more and worse than we've ever done it. You see, and that's why this place is reserved onto eternal fire. See, that's what the end game is for Babylon the Great. Thermonuclear missiles, man. I was in public toilet and some transgender. Yeah, that shit would be bug. I be seeing that shit all the time out here. They be doing, it's weird because you don't see it so much for the men's bathroom. But over here, you see it. You see grown men going into little girls' bathrooms and shit because they on their gender bullshit, right? And they trying to act like women. So you see a lot of these transformers go to the woman's bathroom, all right? But you don't see that shit going into, you don't see it in the men's bath. Because I guarantee you, if one of them motherfuckers try to come in there, that'll be a whole, men in there will just straight bug out. Be like, nigga, you gonna get the fuck out of here. But see, because the women are the weaker vessel and the women like to be around shit like that. That's why they just walk into the girls' bathroom like it's no problem, man. Shit is nasty as hell, man. But hey, flames is coming for them. Hey, shalom, sister. Yahweh Bashem Shah Barakatah. You know. But yeah, I pretty much wanted to end it there through spirit. You know, took a little longer than normal, but everything is. Let me see, brother, put up here. This is Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord, Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Yeah, the sword is about to come and make his moves, man. All right, this is a foreign invasion and an active military attack by another country that overwhelms or destroys local civil authorities, severe civil unrest, massive riots, violent insurrection, or domestic rebellions that completely shatter infrastructure and leave civilian agencies unable to prevent lawlessness or deliver aid. Yeah, and hey, as a matter of fact, I did a video on that yesterday. All right, you have that Tucson, Northern California, that right now they're in. They have declared like a state of emergency. Everything's shut down. All right, they have no 911 out there, and that's going to happen to the rest of America at one point, little by little. You know, so this is why we're on constant watch. All right, be careful keeping your head. You know, you got to keep your head on a swivel out here right now, heavy. There's just so much shit going on. All right, this devil's moving fast. All right, and you know we never know what the Lord's gonna put on him next to do. You know, so we got to keep watching so you know we don't get caught by surprise. So I'm gonna leave it there through the spirit. Lord willing, y'all will edify. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol V'Loim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachat Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Rath our Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom, fighting the good fight of faith, doing as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. You sisters continue to learn in silence, watching the true men of the Lord, the water for the scriptures, the water for tuning in. May Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai continue to protect your households and be upon, upon your minds with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and boost the faith at all times for these last days to be able to endure all the way to the end. Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah.